Job has become so wise, he has surpassed the understanding of the basic principles of faith. And now he's trying to understand the things that are in God's realm. Does that make sense? God does not answer Job exactly. God answers by taking him on a virtual trip, not actually virtual, on a trip showing him different animals, different beings, space and time. And in the King James Version, here's what God says to Job. Are you ready for this? This is my favorite part in all the Bible. God says, can you bind the sweet influence of the Pleiades, or loosen the bands of Orion? Can thou bring forth Mazzaroth in its seasons? Or can thou guide Arcturus with his sons? Do you know the ordinance of heaven? Can you set the dominion of the earth? My middle name is Kirk. And I'd like to introduce you to the most handsome man on the planet, the one who I'm named after, Captain Tobias, James Tobias Kirk. Wow. Now that is a specimen of human. I love the stars. I love sci-fi. I love Star Trek. And what we need to understand here is God is talking about star constellations. You following me? If you scientifically look at how the stars are acting, God says, can thou bind the sweet influences of Pleiades? Pleiades is actually a star cluster, often called the Seven Sisters, that are all bound together by mutual attraction. So Pleiades, what God is talking about, can you bind them? They are scientifically bound together. Isn't that cool? And remember, Bible scholars believe that Job was created before the book of Genesis. And that Moses wrote it. Moses wouldn't have known these things. Job wouldn't have either. Does this make sense? God goes on to say, can you loosen the bands of Orion? Eli, can you show me the picture of the Pleiades real quick? So if you look here, the Pleiades, the Seven Sisters is up there, and those are the ones that God is saying are permanently bound together. Does this make sense? Okay, show me Orion's belt, Eli. I'm sure all of you have seen Orion's belt in the star constellation. Does this make sense? If you look at Orion's belt, it's the three right there. Scientifically, the two stars on the outside are permanently traveling away from the middle star. And scientists believe that in a few thousand years to millions of years, the Orion's belt star constellation will no longer be visible. Almost as if God has loosened the belt. You see where I'm going with this? God goes on to say, can you bring out Mazzaroth in its seasons? We're unsure exactly what he's referring to, but some think it's the northern lights. But then we go on, and God says, can you guide Arcturus and his sons? And Eli, if you show me the picture of Arcturus, Arcturus is this giant bright star. It'll probably be one of the giant, brightest stars in the night sky. And if you look at the Big Dipper, you just follow the end of the dipper over to Arcturus. And what if I told you Arcturus has 52 other stars that are constantly following behind it? It's called the Arcturus Stream. Does this make sense? So whenever God says, can you guide Arcturus with his sons, it's literally a thing. He's literally, Arcturus the star is guiding 52 other stars behind it. The Arcturus Stream. You see why that's cool? And the reason why this is so important, and the reason why I love this so much, if God is in control of the universe, why can't I trust him with my little life? If God is in control of all things, if he formed the Pleiades and he keeps Arcturus on track with its suns, and he knows every detail of how they work, of course he's going to love you when he knows every detail of how you work. Action step number 4, let the stars remind you of your size. The next time it's night out, I challenge you to look at the stars, even if you don't understand them. Look at them and remind yourself that the problems that you think are so big are nothing compared to God. Oh, I know cancer seems like the end. But the God that promises that he's in control of all things is in control. If he can watch over the stars, he can watch you as you sleep. Make sense? So anytime that somebody is struggling with the loss of a loved one or something that doesn't make sense, sometimes you can say, hey, I heard this in Job. Stephen said it. I can't say anything to you while you're grieving, but I can remind you, our job isn't to know everything, but it's to know the person that knows everything. Make sense?